welcome to the channel and thank you to everyone for tuning in. Now, when it comes to pilot watches, they are probably my least favorite type of watch. I do find them incredibly boring, but there have been a few which have really piqued my interest in the past that I find them quite interesting. For example, the Milifortic Zin homage I've got here, and then you also got a one from Merca, a fantastic watch, very overpriced, but it's got some key looks which make it, I don't know, look a bit better, less boring, let's say, with some more features. But if we were to take, for example, let's say the Mark 20 by IWC, and I get IWC as heritage, some famous people wear them and so on and so forth, but someone who has just probably got into watches, and you look at, say, the Mark 20 as a pilot watch, who in their right mind thinks, yeah, this is a £5,000 watch. It's got standard materials, no exceptional workmanship, and uses a claimed in-house movement still based off the ETA 2893, but it does have a colossal 120 hours power reserve. But the movement isn't without its issues. Well, you might be thinking, what is this guy talking about and why is he picking on IWC? Well, I have a watch here from a super niche micro brand which has taken the simple pilot watch design to another level. Something way more exclusive than the Mark 20, and it costs a fraction of the price. This is the anniversary release by Wicked Watch and it's called the Pilot 1. And as you can see, it's something far from simple and normal. What we have is known as a Makume Gane case, which translates to wood grain metal. And it's a Japanese forging technique which combines different types of metal into a wood grain effect. It can combine different metals like steel, copper, bronze, etc. depending on the type of grain that you want. And we're going to talk about this case a little more later on, because that's just not it. You also get a bunch of exotic dials. You've got lapis, malachite, granite, aventurine, turquoise stone dials, and even a white marble dial, which by the way is sold out. So how's that compared to a Mark 20? And this watch only costs you between £520 and £560 depending on the stone dial that you choose. Wicked Watch have turned what would be an ordinary pilot watch design into something extremely unique and objectively exclusive while keeping that iconic pilot design. It's also quite similarly sized, just 2mm thicker compared to the Mark 20. It's still a 40mm diameter with a 49mm lug to lug and a 20mm lug width. It's a little thicker because it does use the Seiko NH38 automatic movement, which for me, it gives me peace of mind as it is robust and reliable. That being said, I think they potentially could have gone down the Miyota 9039 route as well. For sure, that would have added more to the watch and tipped it closer to the £700 mark. Now, one thing which Wicked Watch tried to do is they tried to create a balance on cost and materials, giving you something more in terms of material and manufacturing, but saving perhaps in this case in terms of movement, but still with something very reliable. Now we have to take a closer look at this, and I don't know whether to check the dial out or the case. But in this instance, let's do the case, as it is the first time I'm seeing a Makume Gane watch case. Now just looking at this material, it makes the basic case stand out so much. I think I can probably guess the materials used. Definitely there's some steel in there in that silver grain, copper for the deeper brown color, and perhaps bronze for that golden grain that you get in between. Now this whole steel layering design is amazing to look at. And like the Damascus and Damascus offerings, it's going to be totally unique. No two cases will be the same. Now the crown is also the same material and it has the same consistency. And you rarely see this material on watches under a few £1,000s. And this is what actually needs to be understood. This isn't just overinflated pricing based on past excursions, but it's real tangible value. Now, it's definitely a gorgeous looking material, and I'll say they have made it even better. Pascal, the brand owner, shared on his WhatsApp group something which happened by accident. They ended up creating a crystallized Makume Gane case, which he thinks is the first of its kind. You can actually see the grain and the crystallization on the steel, and I say it looks insane. There's lots of sparkles, microcrystals, and it's one of those watches, just like the Damascus diver that I reviewed. You end up spending a fair bit of time just inspecting the watch, looking at the wonderful materials that Wicked Watch use. But then to further tantalize your senses, you get these impressive stone dials. And I was absolutely spoiled for choice. The aventurine looks so good, but I've seen plenty of aventurines now. Obviously, I went with the lapis that you can see, but they have an absolute plethora of different dials across the models, some of which I haven't seen. Now, I did mention the marble dial For me, that marble dial looks particularly good, but it is currently out of stock. Now, I have seen a lapis lazuli dial before, but this one looks a little different because when it does catch some of that light, there's a lot of hidden gold specks that shimmer out of the dial, and the dial is actually covered with these gold shimmers. And I think that really complements the case because you've got sort of gold on the case as well. Obviously, the handset is polished gold, so it's very complementary all around. Now, the rest of the dial has some mottling similar to marble. And again, you know, the no two dials are the same when we look at these natural stone dials that are used in watches. So you get totally unique pieces, and the brand already runs on very low volumes, which does make them pretty exclusive. When we check out that super sharp Pilot handset, you can see how it glistens under the light. It's very sharp, precisely cut, and it has micro bevels on those edges. And you get amazing light play. Now, the lume used on the dial is actually Swiss Superluminova. And a lot of brands actually lie due to the price of Swiss Superluminova being ridiculously high. Now, Pascal has shared certificates and even a picture with the person running the Superluminova factory. So we know these guys are the real deal. And they are probably the most transparent microband you'll ever buy from. Now, moving on to the strap is what we had on the Damascus Diver. I think these may be German FKM. You have a tight weave pattern. It's very supple and comfortable, and it features a titanium clasp. And I think I also forgot to mention that the case back is also the same type of titanium. Now, on wrist, this is definitely going to be the nicest looking Pilot watch you ever wear due to the materials being used, but it's also quite comfortable. 40mm gives you a lot of dial presence. And the fact that it's 49mm on the lug to lug, it means it can fit slightly smaller wrist. Traditionally, Pilot watches were quite a bit bigger. Now, the strap also adds quite a lot of comfort, matches the dial as well, and the presence that the watch has is quite unmatched. It's something you don't really see every day or even every month, and it is totally unique, and it might be the most unique piece in your collection. Now, for me, I do actually like to see objective value in watches. So when there's watches out there which are basic in design and looks and tech and manufacturing, but they're retailing for around £4,000 to £5,000, my brain simply can't understand that. And as a reviewer, I have to get across to the people watching where there's watches that actually have way more value in the way that they are being made, but they're actually cheaper. So therefore, they're actually worth that money that you're going to spend. And this is one of the biggest USPs Wicked Watch has. If you check the catalog, you'll see that these guys are making watches using materials, dials that nobody really does. So that is it from me today with this fantastic value for money Pilot 1 by Wicked Watch. Feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments section below, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.